Burkina Faso stands as one of the most terrorism-impacted countries globally, with extremist violence displacing over 2 million people and pushing more than 60% of the territory beyond governmental control. Despite these enormous challenges, a deeper story of resilience, transformation, and resistance unfolds. Over a 72-hour immersion in Burkina Faso, I explored not just its headlines but its heartbeat, from heavy military checkpoints to the vibrant streets of Ouagadougou. Captain Ibrahim, Africa's youngest current head of state, has vowed to reclaim national sovereignty by nationalizing gold and cotton resources, cutting ties with foreign troops, and fostering Pan-African solidarity, echoing the legacy of revolutionary leader Thomas. Upon arrival, I was briefly detained at immigration, a stark reminder of the tense security protocols shaping everyday life. With no access to local currency, limited information accessibility, and an absence of tourists, I navigated a country grappling with survival while striving to tell its own story. In the city's vibrant grand prices reflect scarcity, but traders persist, keeping commerce alive despite soaring food costs and poverty affecting nearly half the population. In Kalgandan, a slum I visited, families survive on less than $2 per day. Still, a strong sense of pride prevails, especially among young people inspired by nationalist rhetoric and vision. Administration has formed the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Niger, rejecting ECOWAS and asserting regional independence. The new bloc is working toward a shared currency, tighter energy policy coordination, and limited grain exports to ECOWAS countries. Communities are adapting under adversity. In cities like Bobo Dioulasso and Kaya, climate-resilient infrastructure is nearing completion, with fresh drainage systems, sanitation, networks, and road upgrades enhancing resilience. Solar panels are appearing on rooftops. Farmers are pooling resources, and previously shuttered schools are reopening through grassroots initiatives. Yet trauma remains. A teacher working under a tent for displaced children summarized it best: "We're at war, but we're not just fighting with bullets, we're fighting ignorance." Despite threats and kidnappings, educators continue their work in regions where over 270 schools were attacked in the last 2 years, and nearly a fifth remain closed. The Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland Community defense groups have played a central role in local security, though their actions have drawn scrutiny. In March 2025, VDP and army forces were accused of killing over 130 Fulani civilians near Silenzo, prompting outrage. In retaliation, the jihadist group JNIM launched a deadly counterattack in Diapaga, killing more than 60 soldiers and allies. These violent cycles underline the growing complexity of the security crisis. On the economic front, Burkina Faso's growth has rebounded from 3.0% in 2023 to approximately 4.9%. In 2024, extreme poverty has declined to around 23%, although over 5.5 million people still live below the poverty line. Inflation driven by food prices, but is expected to stabilize at 2% by 2025. Fiscal deficits have narrowed from over 6% to 5.6% of GDP in 2024. While debt remains elevated, exceeding 60% of GDP, though reform efforts are underway, has fast-tracked state-led initiatives, including the construction of a national gold refinery capable of processing 400 kilograms daily, tighter regulation of artisanal mining, and housing expansion for displaced citizens. A national housing project launched in 2024 aims to build 1,000 units for internally displaced people by 2030. In the sectors of education and energy, bioclimatic schools are being constructed to handle extreme Sahelian heat, while solar plants in Kotani and Zina are now operational. New data centers and digital IT systems are being rolled out to modernize government services and improve administrative efficiency. Security and displacement remain the country's greatest challenges. JNIM's expansion, now estimated at 6,000 to 7,000 fighters, is marked by sophisticated tactics, including the use of drones and anti-aircraft weapons. The group's reach is pushing further into West Africa's coastal states, threatening broader regional stability. United Nations agencies predict internal displacement could reach 3.6 million by the end of 2025. Many of the displaced remain unregistered, living in makeshift, unrecognized settlements on the outskirts of cities. In Ouagadougou, political tensions remain high. A failed coup attempt in mid-2025 sparked massive pro-junta demonstrations, fanning anti-Western sentiment and reinforcing its popularity among youth and Meanwhile, civil society groups and journalists face increasing repression. As I leave Burkina Faso, the contradictions stay with me. Fear alongside faith, conflict alongside construction, displacement alongside community. This is not simply a story of despair, but of a nation trying to redefine itself, caught between crisis and courage, tragedy and transformation. What if I told you that the country which receives the highest number of terror attacks in the entire world is not Afghanistan, Iraq, or Syria? Well, welcome to Burkina Faso, a small landlocked nation nestled in West Africa, grappling with a crisis that seems insurmountable. Extortionate violence has driven over 2 million people from their homes. More than 60% of the country is beyond the government's control. Children are dying before their time, and some of the world's leading powers are branding it a failed state. So what really is going on here? And is there any hope for a brighter future for this troubled nation? After arriving in the country, I was held for hours at immigration. Although I had secured all necessary permissions beforehand, they claimed to be missing my journalist accreditation from the foreign ministry. After much back and forth, I was let go without so much as an apology. They also seized our SIM cards upon arrival, leaving us with no way to contact anyone or use mobile data. This isn't a common occurrence, but a sign of how sensitive the situation has become. There are no tourist sites to visit in Burkina Faso, there are no embassies, no consular offices, no hotels, and no restaurants frequented by foreigners. When you arrive, you must get a guide who will accompany you everywhere. No exceptions. It felt as if the entire country was living on edge, holding its breath while bracing for impact. A taxi driver in Ouagadougou broke down for me. We're caught in a terrifying cycle of violence. Whole villages can be wiped out overnight. Markets can be decimated. Crops can be destroyed. People are losing faith in everything. Even the mighty France, which has ruled the country for decades, has been forced to retreat. It's chaos, and things don't seem to be getting any better anytime soon, he confided in me. Burkina Faso has one of the most troubling records of terrorist attacks in recent history. It's a staggering 44 incidents per 1 million people. That's 20 times higher than the global average. It's also the main destination for jihadists crossing from neighboring Mali. But what's driving this alarming surge in violence? On the surface, the answers are complex and interwoven. Poverty, ethnic tensions, religious radicalization, climate change, and political instability are some of the factors that come to mind. However, beneath these lies a deeper malaise, a dissatisfaction with the status quo that has been brewing for generations. You only need to look to the rise of their new leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Africa's youngest head of state, to see this. Upon assuming power, he made it clear that his priority was to reclaim national sovereignty. He began by nationalizing gold and cotton resources, severing ties with foreign troops, and fostering Pan-African solidarity. He is doing exactly what he promised. He's even begun a purge of those he believes are traitors to the state, whether they be military officers or civilians. He's cut diplomatic ties with countries like France and the Netherlands and replaced them with nations like Russia, Belarus, Turkey, and Iran. It's clear that he wants to break free from the shackles of neocolonialism and chart his own path to development. I met many locals who felt disillusioned with the country's traditional leaders and yearned for a departure from the status quo. Some of them, particularly the youth, see their new president as a beacon of hope and an agent of change. His rhetoric is resonating deeply with them, especially when he speaks about national pride and liberation. He's tapping into a vein of discontent that has been simmering beneath the surface for a long time. His administration has even gone a step further. It has formed the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Niger, effectively breaking away from ECOWAS, the regional bloc led by Nigeria and Ghana. The new alliance is working towards a common currency, tighter energy policy coordination, and limited grain exports to ECOWAS countries. It's a bold move that signals the growing unease with the region's political and economic trajectory. But the changes aren't limited to politics. Across the country, communities are rising to the challenge. In cities like Bobo Dioulasso and Kaya, the spirit of resilience is evident. Climate-resilient infrastructure is nearing completion. Fresh drainage systems, sanitation, networks, and road upgrades are making significant strides. Solar panels are starting to dot rooftops, and farmers are joining hands to pool resources. Schools that were shut due to the crisis are gradually reopening, thanks to grassroots efforts. This spirit of adaptation is truly remarkable. It's a testament to the human will to survive and thrive in the face of adversity. Yet beneath this surface of struggle and survival, there's a haunting reality that persists. The trauma runs deep and the scars run deeper. A teacher working under a tent for displaced children in Solhan summed up the situation best. We're at war, but we're not just fighting with bullets. We're fighting ignorance. In regions where over 270 schools were attacked in the last 2 years and nearly a fifth remain closed, the battle for education is nothing short of a war. The jihadist onslaught is relentless. Attacks on schools are frequent, and the toll on teachers and students is immeasurable. The threat of abduction, of being targeted for their beliefs, hangs heavy in the air, yet they stand firm. They understand that educating the next generation is not just a duty, it's a lifeline. Every book read, every lesson taught, is a step towards building a better future, a future that these children deserve. As I toured the country, I saw the commitment firsthand. Teachers traveling miles on foot or bike to reach their makeshift classrooms, parents forming human shields around their children on their way to school, and entire communities rallying together to rebuild schools destroyed by the extremists. This is their response to the crisis. It's a blend of defiance and determination. Despite all this, Many wonder if the world is watching. Is the international community doing enough to help Burkina Faso navigate this crisis? The answer, unfortunately, seems to be lost in the winds of the Sahel. It's hard to say. It's important to note that the security situation in Burkina Faso is fluid and complex. The violence, while primarily driven by jihadist groups, has evolved into a multidimensional crisis involving various actors. In particular, the actions of the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, known locally as VDP, have come under scrutiny. These community-based defense groups have played a central role in local security. However, their activities have raised serious concerns. In March 2025, they were accused of killing over 130 Fulani civilians near slums, an event that sparked widespread outrage and reprisals. In retaliation, the jihadist group JNIM launched a deadly attack in Diapaga, killing more than 60 soldiers and their allies. Such cycles of violence only serve to escalate the crisis, making it all the more crucial to understand the motivations behind them. To truly grasp the gravity of the situation, one must look beyond the headlines of attacks and abductions. One must delve into the root causes of this seemingly intractable conflict. Poverty, ethnic tensions, and religious radicalization are just some of the issues at play. But perhaps the most fundamental issue is the feeling of being marginalized, of being governed by a system that does not represent their interests. From my interactions with locals, it was evident that many felt that the old guard, both political and social, had failed them. They saw the traditional leaders as puppets of the colonial system, as agents of neocolonialism that served the interests of foreign powers rather than their own. The rise of Captain Ibrahim Traoré reflects this sentiment. His popularity, particularly among the youth, is not merely a product of charisma. It's a symptom of a deep-seated desire for change. So, what is the way forward for Burkina Faso? The challenges are immense, but the spirit of resilience I witnessed across the country gives a glimmer of hope. Investing in education, promoting dialogue, and addressing the root causes of extremism are crucial steps. The international community, too, has a vital role to play. True partnership, not just in words, but in deeds, is essential. It's time to move beyond the rhetoric of failed states and engage in meaningful, sustainable solutions. The people of Burkina Faso deserve nothing less. My journey through Burkina Faso was a sobering experience. The statistics are grim, the stories harrowing, and the challenges monumental. But amidst the despair, there's a flicker of hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The story of Burkina Faso is a story of struggle, yes, but it's also a story of resilience, courage, and the unyielding pursuit of a better tomorrow. It's a story that deserves to be heard, understood, and acted upon. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more and like the video.